Hi green lovers, it's Tara and I am out in my garden to show you what it looks like at the end of January. Today's actually the 1st of February, so I recorded the video that's coming up a couple of days ago, but it's very interesting to see how the garden evolves from January through June, July, August, when it's really at its summer peak, and then how it starts to taper off towards fall and then of course winter. And do stay tuned till the end of this video because I am going to be doing my single seed challenge. And for those of you that don't know about it, it's a challenge that has been initiated by Scott Head from Black Gumbo Southern Gardening. This is his second year doing it. I participated last year as well. I'll throw a link to my last year's single seed challenge playlist in the description. But basically what it involves is taking one seed all the way from inception, choosing that seed and then seeing it grow and taking care of it all the way through the end of its life cycle. It's a lot of fun, and I encourage whoever can participate to do so because it is really quite an experience to watch that little tender seed grow to adulthood and then take it through its life cycle. So stay tuned and let's get into the garden tour. So this here is what I call my north garden because it is north facing. It's the very first set of raised beds I put in my garden, and so it's got a very special place in my heart. Actually, this is the very first raised bed I ever put in. Now, as you can see, it's got two layers. It's got an 8-inch, actually is that a 6-inch? Yeah, it's got a 6-inch board at the bottom, and if you look closely, you can see that I've got hardware cloth underneath it, which is to keep gophers and other critters from burrowing from the bottom. I had a lot of problems with squirrels and gophers and all kinds of things in this bed, so that's what I did with this one. And while there's not very much going on here, I have actually grown some pretty decent tomatoes. I actually grew a 10-foot tall tomato. The tallest I've ever grown was in this bed, even though it's probably in the shadiest part of my garden. Something to be said, tomatoes don't require as much sunshine as people claim that they do. So what I've got going on here is just a few kohlrabis. This is the first year I am growing kohlrabis. It's got a nice purple stem, and eventually, hopefully, it's going to bulb out. Actually, I see some of them in other places starting to bulb out already. So I think that's almost there. And at the end here, I have got some fava beans that I planted in fall of last year, and they're starting to produce a lot of flowers and hopefully some fruit pretty soon. In this bed here, I have planted some Egyptian walking onions. You can't quite see them, but I am hoping that they will grow quickly and fill up this bed. This bed is kind of difficult for me to access. It was not exactly designed properly. Difficult for me to get water in here, but Egyptian onions, walking onions, are pretty forgiving, and they should be okay with growing once the weather starts to warm up. And here is probably my favorite plant in my entire garden at this time of the year, which is late January. It is my tree kale. I actually got seeds from the YouTube channel Plant Abundance. I bought them from Dan, and it's growing beautifully. I've got several of these in different parts of my garden, and this one is the nicest looking one. The others got eaten up by rats and things, but this one was spared, so it's growing really nicely. I've already been harvesting, looking forward to harvesting quite a bit more. And in this bed, I have actually planted salsify. I've never grown salsify before, so I'm waiting for that to pop up. And if you're wondering what this tool is spread out on the ground, it's because I sprinkled some parsley seeds and I'm trying to protect the seedlings when they come up from getting picked off by birds, and the tool does a really nice job protecting them. And along the edge here, also being protected by the tool, is peas. I am actually growing peas, and these are shelling peas. I'm growing them along this border to climb up this trellis, and peas are just famous for getting picked off by birds. So this tool is hopefully going to protect it while it grows. And on this side, as I turn around, I've got some carrots that I actually planted in early winter. They are finally coming up. They're starting to look like they are going to take off. So maybe when the temperatures get just a little warmer, they will start growing much faster. In these totes, I have got a collection of dino kale, and in this one I have got kohlrabi again. And this is what I was talking about. I think it's actually starting to bulb up a little bit. So I'm hoping that I'm going to be harvesting some kohlrabi in about a month or so. This bed in the middle here, with the trellis going all the way up top here, is where I've planted peas along the sides, but everything in the middle, for the most part, are volunteers. I didn't plant any of these things. They all came up. And this kale also I planted, but the rest of the stuff that's growing here, which is mostly daikon radish and arugula, came up all by themselves. And they're growing quite nicely. Look at that daikon radish root. And this is a beautiful arugula plant. So there's several of these. I just love volunteers. You know, it's like nature just giving back without you giving anything. Something must have gone to seed and I wasn't even paying attention. And I've got all kinds of beautiful daikon radish growing here. These are sweet peas and they're flowers. And they came up by themselves too. Didn't plant them. Hashtag love volunteers. These beds are what I call my Olympic beds because they're kind of shaped like, you know, the circles, except that they're squares, like the Olympic circles, 5 of them. And again, not much going on here, except in this bed I've got plenty of garlic that is growing. And let me walk over there. This is not much. This is some cabbage that really didn't do very well, and some fennel that is volunteering from last year. It's actually starting to make a nice little bulb here, so I shouldn't complain about it. This one here, back here, are scallions. I've been harvesting them regularly. They were growing so fast, but now you can see I've chopped off the tops. I better ease up on that. I'm not going to get much by way of scallions. And then over here I've got some Italian garlic that was given to me by a friend, seed garlic, and it's growing just beautifully. But here is where I actually planted some cover crops. These are chickpeas and they're growing quite nicely. They're actually at the point where I'm going to need to cut them down and just lay them on this bed and allow them to decompose for a few weeks and provide some nice nitrogen and organic material to these beds. I wanted to show you my succulents. This is a little old fountain that was lying around doing nothing, and I just planted some succulents in them, and this time of year they just look so pretty. There's hardly an inch or so of soil in this and they're growing so nicely. I've got another one here also. It's just gorgeous. I just love these succulents. This time of year the colors are just so vibrant. A few more odds and ends I wanted to show you. Here I've got some radish, and it has really taken off after the rain started. I had French breakfast on this side, radish on this side that I have harvested already, and these I believe are cherry bells, and I'm hoping that they will start, actually they are starting to bulb out a little bit, but hoping that that will happen over the next couple of weeks or so. And in this is actually a fireplace, an old fireplace, and the iron was starting to degrade a little bit, so I decided I would convert it to a planter. So I put a plastic sheet under it, poked a few holes, put some soil on top, and I planted some lettuce, which is growing just beautifully. Okay, so I am back indoors and ready to start my single seed challenge. So here is the grand reveal of the seed I have chosen. Wait for it. It's the Chinese 5-color pepper. Look how pretty that is. I got these seeds from Baker Creek and they just have the most gorgeous pictures in addition to the most fabulous seeds. So this is the one that I have chosen, and I also have my little container of soil all ready to go with label and everything. So let's go ahead and select my seed, and then Single Seed Challenge 2021, here I come. Okay, so I have gone ahead and opened my packet. I have never grown this pepper before, so I am really excited to see whether I can grow some peppers that look as pretty as the ones in that picture. I'm going to find out this year. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose my seed. I think that's a good selection to choose from. Let's look for one that's nice and plump, which is the one that's calling to me. I think this one right at the edge here. What do you think, guys? Is that the single seed challenge? I think it is. So that's the one that is going into this container that I have prepped for it. So I'm going to make a little hole right in the center. Now, seeds usually like to be buried at a depth that is double the size of the seed. And since this pepper seed is so tiny, I'm going to just about bury it. Now, I did something last year that I'm going to do again this year. It's a little bit of a twist, actually, a little bit of a cheat on the single seed challenge, but I am going to be choosing a backup plant. And the reason for that is because peppers take a long time to germinate. And if this one that I have chosen here is a dud, then I'm going to have to start all over and you know, summer is coming. I gotta get my plant out there, so I want to be sure that I have got at least one seed participating in the challenge that is going to do really, really well, and giving the seed a head start is part of that. So I'm gonna plant this one right at the side here so I know that it's my backup plant. And if both of them germinate, then guess what? I've got a plant to give away. And I know a lot of my friends who will be quite happy to take this plant from me. So my single seed challenge right in the middle, his little backup friend sitting right there, waiting to go if this one doesn't succeed. If not, it'll go to another home. Now, another thing about peppers is that they like warmth to germinate. So I have got a very special spot that I have reserved for this seed to germinate, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So this is where I germinate a lot of my seeds. This is an old reptile cage from next door. I got this for free. Someone was giving it away. And the nice thing about it is that it comes with a built-in heat mat. So the heat mat that it comes with is on this side, and I extended it with another heat mat on this side. So now I've got an entire station where I can put my seeds in a nice, warm, as well as humid environment to germinate. You'll notice that I've got plastic bags on top of all the things that I'm trying to germinate here. And my single seed challenge is going to be going right here. It's going to have this front row seat, so I can see it and I can check on it every day. And as soon as it germinates, I am going to transfer it to my grow station right here and give it a nice sturdy start in life. Well, it looks like my cat really wants to follow the single seed challenge. Well, actually, she likes the nice heat mat just like the pepper does. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, folks. And if you'd like to check out my single seed challenge from 2020, click on the playlist right about there. And I'd love it if you follow me on my 2021 gardening journey by clicking that subscribe button and hitting that notify bell. Until next time, say it, kitty. Live green and love your greens. Yes. Oh no, don't touch my single seed challenge.